Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to Falcon Recaps. Today we are diving into a world where the smartphone in your pocket isn't just a distraction, it's a weapon of mass destruction. We're talking about the 2017 Netflix original iBoy. Imagine getting jumped by a gang, taking a bullet meant for your head, but instead of fading into the afterlife, you wake up and realize the shattered fragments of your iPhone have fused with your brain. You aren't just a teenager anymore, you're a living, breathing super server with the power to hack the entire world just by thinking about it. But as our hero Tom is about to find out, having the internet in your skull doesn't make life easier, it just makes the targets on your back much, much bigger. Let's get into it. The story kicks off in a gritty, overcast London council estate. We meet Tom, an average, somewhat timid teenager who spends his time hanging out with his best friend Danny and pining after his childhood friend Lucy. Tom isn't a fighter. He's the guy who keeps his head down to avoid the local gangs that run the blocks like mini dictators. He lives with his grandmother, trying to stay on the straight and narrow in an environment designed to pull you down. One evening, Tom heads over to Lucy's apartment to help her study, but he walks into a nightmare. As he bolts down the hallway, one of the thugs fires a shot. He wakes up days later in a hospital bed, miraculously alive but fundamentally changed. The doctors tell him they couldn't remove all the fragments of the phone because they're lodged too deep in his brain tissue. At first, Tom just feels lucky to be breathing, but then the glitches start. He begins seeing glowing lines of code, digital signals, and floating data streams superimposed over his vision. He can hear phone conversations happening floors away. He realizes that the hardware in his head has interfaced with his nervous system, giving him the ability to visualize and manipulate the entire digital spectrum, the electrosphere. Returning home, Tom is a shell of his former self, haunted by the trauma and the overwhelming sensory input of his new powers. The transition back to normal life is impossible. The council estate is a digital minefield for him. Every smart meter, every Wi-Fi router, and every cell tower screams at him in a language of light and frequency. He sees the invisible world, the way data flows through the air like currents in an ocean. He visits Lucy, only to find her shattered by the attack. She's withdrawn, living in fear, and the police have made zero progress because the attackers were masked. This is the turning point. Tom realizes that while he couldn't protect her as a normal kid, he now possesses the ultimate surveillance tool. He begins to experiment with his abilities, discovering the sheer scale of his godlike control over the modern world. He can intercept any digital signal, hack into CCTV cameras to rewrite history, and even remotely trigger electronic devices to explode by overcharging their batteries. He adopts the persona of iBoy, an anonymous vigilante using the very technology that nearly killed him to hunt down the men who hurt Lucy. His first targets are the low-level street dealers and thugs who participated in the break-in. Through his digital sight, Tom tracks their phones and begins a psychological war.
Do you want another hole in your head? Tom, I can't always be there, you know.
He doesn't just attack them, he dismantles their lives. He drains their bank accounts in seconds, broadcasts their private shame and incriminating messages to their peers, and uses their own smartphones as localized EMP devices to physically burn them. He's a ghost in the machine, taking them down one by one without ever throwing a punch. However, the deeper he digs, the more he realizes that the attack on Lucy wasn't a random act of violence. It was a coordinated hit ordered by the estate's top dog, a ruthless criminal named Elman. As Tom climbs the criminal ladder, his powers grow, but so does the toll on his body.
Where'd you go at night?
Walking.
With this?
Every time he pushes his brain to process massive amounts of data, he suffers from debilitating brain burn and nosebleeds. He's essentially overclocking his biological CPU. And his body isn't designed for the heat. He starts to lose touch with his humanity, becoming more cold and calculated, seeing people as data points rather than human beings. This creates a rift with Lucy, who doesn't want a digital executioner, she just wants her friend back, and for the cycle of violence to end. She fears that Tom is becoming just as monstrous as the people he's hunting. Elman is not a typical street thug. He is an old-school kingpin who understands that while Tom controls the digital world, the physical world still belongs to those with the most muscle and the least conscience. This leads to a terrifying realization for Tom. His digital footprint, though encrypted, still leads back to a physical location. When Elman captures Danny and uses him as bait, Tom is forced to realize that all the processing power in the world can't protect his loved ones from a simple knife or a physical ambush, but he underestimates Elman's old-school brutality. Elman doesn't care about encryption or data, he cares about leverage. He kidnaps Lucy, forcing Tom into a final showdown where his digital godhood is tested against the physical reality of a loaded gun.
Wanted to hurt you. Okay, good. Now we're getting somewhere. I want to help you fulfill your potential.
If you're going to betray a friend, look him in the eye while you do it.
He's weakened, his brain is fried from overexertion, and his vision is flickering like a broken screen. He's experiencing digital hallucinations, where the real world and the data world are blurring into a chaotic mess of static.
Okay, so how are we doing it?
Oh, shit. Let's get on your knees, all of you.
Easy.
Now! We were friends, remember?
I have to admit, I was expecting you to be rather more restrained.
Tom?
He uses his last bit of strength to trigger a massive overload of every device in the building. The final fight is visceral. It's no longer about hacking, it's about survival. In the end, Tom realizes that he can't be a superhero and a normal boy at the same time. The fragments in his head are a permanent part of him, a constant reminder of the night his life changed. The movie closes with Tom and Lucy sitting on a rooftop, the neon lights of London buzzing below them.